Lack of firepower up front might make their next match at home to Slough Town the following Saturday a harder match to win than it would have been normally. However, Paul Fewings was now able to get his chance in the starting line-up, while the midfield was strengthened by the return after injury of skipper Steve Watson. But Slough were fielding a very experienced side and needed to win just as badly as Farnborough, as they'd slumped down to second from bottom in the table and were in grave danger of relegation. That predicament had come about mainly because of off-the-field problems which included the non-payment of players' wages, but that had now been resolved and Slough could now concentrate on their survival battle on the pitch in terms of staying in the Premier Division, and indeed they made it hard for Farnborough early on by battling for every ball until Gary Crawshaw suddenly had a chance to give Farnborough the lead in the 19th minute when he beat a dodgy offside trap to go clean through on goal from Jimmy Dack's through ball, but then chipped high and wide with only keeper Steve Mortone to beat and an unmarked Scott Corbett waiting for a simple tap-in. In fact, when keeper Mortone was finally asked to do something in the 25th minute, he made rather a hash of it by bringing down Lenny Piper for an obvious penalty and earning himself a booking from referee Jay Beadle in the process. Whether the J stood for Jeremy, or indeed if Mortone should be pronounced Mortone, we don't really know, as that sort of detailed information is always difficult to obtain in non-league football. But whatever his name was, the Slough keeper was certainly popular with his teammates when he made up for his error by keeping out Lenny Piper's spot kick. Of course, that only made Slough battle even harder, and Farnborough were almost caught out at the back because of that in the 30th minute, when Leon Townley's rather unintentional through ball found striker Paul Coombs, who rounded keeper Stuart McKenzie quite well, but found Justin Gregory getting back to put him off, just in the nick of time from Farnborough's point of view. However, Farnborough were lucky that Slough were missing their top scorer Dwight Marshall, who was out injured for this match, as he may well have buried this clear-cut chance they created in the 33rd minute, but Paul Coombs badly mistimed his header right in front of goal to spoil Junior Haynes' good approach work. Although Farnborough had missed two great chances themselves, Slough had already shown enough to prove that this would be a tougher match for the league leaders than if they were facing a mid-table side, simply because Slough had something more than pride to play for. And after a scoreless first half, the next chance of the match didn't come until the 60th minute, when Gary Crawshaw showed some good skill to control and volley Scott Corbett's pass, but Mortone, as I think we'll call him, showed some good handling low down to his left. However, that was a comfortable save compared to the one he had to make just a minute later, as Jimmy Dack showed good anticipation of where Scott Corbett's cross might end up to run in and fire a well-struck shot towards the bottom corner, but Mortone made an excellent stop to palm the ball away. Dack, though, was substituted shortly afterwards along with skipper Steve Watson, who came off 10 minutes later, as Farnborough manager Graham Westley brought on two players in Tony Taggart and Chris Piper with maybe a bit more skill and ability from an attacking viewpoint, but without Dack and Watson's experience or ball-winning capabilities. However, the gamble certainly paid off in the 74th minute when Taggart produced a perfect cross to the far post for Gary Crawshaw to get on the end of to give Farnborough the lead at last. Of course, with Slough now having to throw men forward after that, it left their defence vulnerable to quick counter-attacks, something which Lenny Piper seems to thrive on as he rarely gets picked up in those sort of situations. But after Tony Taggart set him up from one such run in the 79th minute, keeper Mortone came to Slough's rescue again with a good block with his legs. By now, though, Graham Westley had brought on defender Tim O'Shea for forward Paul Fewings to try and tighten up at the back and hold on to their 1-0 lead. But that meant that most of the game was now being played in Farnborough's half of the pitch, and there was more chance of free kicks being given away on the edge of the area because of that. Presumably then, Farnborough didn't realise that Slough's Dave Rainford was more than capable of hitting the target from there, and they had to be thankful that keeper Stuart McKenzie was alert enough to make what was his first real save of the match. Although Farnborough had stretched their lead at the top of the table to an incredible 24-point margin because of their 16 wins in a row, they still had a few more games left before they could clinch the title, because some of the teams below them had so many games in hand they could quite feasibly catch Farnborough if they started slipping up. Farnborough really needed to win this match then and keep their run going just in case, but Slough put a spanner in the works in the 86th minute when, after a long spell of pressure, Paul Barracliff managed to fire in a decent effort at goal, which Stuart McKenzie did brilliantly to tip away. But unfortunately, defender Tim O'Shea was still admiring the save when Slough substitute Elias Backsham crossed from the rebound, leaving Paul Coombs totally unmarked to equalise. With only one forward on the pitch now, Farnborough didn't have much hope of finding a winner in the 4 minutes plus injury time remaining, and so it proved in the end, as Slough's fierce determination to avoid relegation saw them hold on to put a stop to Farnborough's winning run at last.